Greetings, YouTube. In North Carolina, there is a loophole in the law. It's a vile loophole, and one that stands and continues to stand in the face of multiple attempts to address it. What is that loophole? The loophole is that in North Carolina, if a woman consents to vaginal sex, and during that act decides to revoke consent, the person gets violent, she just suddenly decides she's not in the mood. It doesn't really matter why. It's her body. Consent is a continuous process in the real world, but not in North Carolina. In North Carolina, she can't revoke consent once the act has begun. Stop for a second. Let that percolate for a second. In North Carolina, if a woman has consented to vaginal intercourse, and it's specific to vaginal intercourse, and decides to revoke consent after the process has begun, sorry, you can't. And at that point, in the real world, it becomes rape. But not in North Carolina. In North Carolina, it isn't rape. She agreed to the intercourse. That's it. And there have been multiple attempts to address this loophole. And the reaction from the Conservative Party has been that that's pandering to like the women's study alumni. That somehow, the evil feminists are trying to have autonomy over women's bodies, let women decide if they actually have sex with someone. Apparently that goes beyond the pale for conservatives in North Carolina, which shouldn't surprise anyone. Because as far as the conservatives of America are concerned, women aren't real people. They don't actually have rights. They don't get to decide what happens to their uteruses or their vaginas. Those are things that should really be decided by the menfolk. And I'm sick to death of it. Now, what's interesting to me, which I didn't know this, that while North Carolina may be the only state where women explicitly can't withdraw consent after sexual intercourse has begun, most other states see this as a gray area. Only South Carolina, Connecticut, California, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Kansas, and Minnesota affirmatively recognize that consent may be withdrawn at any time during sex. Illinois is the only one that's made it law. Okay, stop for a second. Think about the fact that Kansas is being more progressive than almost all the other states? That is a profound concept. Kansas. But in North Carolina, they don't really care if women suffer. Apparently, it doesn't matter. I've got no witty end for this one. This is just depressing. Once again, conservative politics, social conservatism in general, has shown us that it is a pox upon humanity.